This is Big Power Pump, and you're listening to The Stranglehold on 590 AM.
Now, I'm curious because of all the hoopla and the fanfare for the recent retirement and Hall of Fame ceremony for Ric Flair. You always had some pretty pointed words in some of those interviews you delivered on Nitro. Did you get a chuckle out of that? Did you just accept it for what it was? What was your reaction to all of that fanfare recently?
I kind of laughed because if you watched it, Flair was crying like a little bitch, and it's like, if you remember back when NWO did that skit on the Four Horsemen, and X-Pac was crying all the time. He had like a water bottle on his arm and squeezed every time somebody said something to Flair.
Right.
We were just messing with Flair because that's the way Flair was. Flair was one of the biggest pansies that ever got into wrestling, and he would give you these puppy dog eyes. I remember one time he actually thought the Four Horsemen were going to get a push again.
Mm-hmm.
They had Kurt Hennig join the Four Horsemen.
Right.
And nobody's smart enough Flair. And it just happened Hennig was going to join the NWO. And they went over the finish, and there was tears. His eyes started welling up. And he thought he was going to get, Four Horsemen get back on top. And, Hennig, we just went in the other room and started laughing. We couldn't believe that tears were coming in his eyes. Flair was one of the biggest candy asses to ever be in wrestling. Matter of fact, 2 months in the business, like I said, I started for Dick the Bruiser.
Mm-hmm.
He said I was supposed to go down to NWA for a tryout, and he says, when you get there, you drop your bags. When you see Flair, you tell him to carry your bags. You tell him I said so. I didn't know nothing about ribs, so I was going to do it.
Right.
And but I was riding back home with Bulldog Don Kent. He said, no, you can't do that. Dick's just messing around,
Mm-hmm.
So, every guy that I talked to never had little or zero respect for Ric Flair,
Wow. Scott Steiner with us.
I remember one time Rick Rude, we used to do TV tapings down at center stage. Rick Rude could not stand the guy. And he followed him around for like an hour or so. Just said, man, why are you champion? Look at you. You look like like crap.
Right.
Why are they pushing it? Flair finally couldn't take it. Left the arena and didn't come back until the TV taping started. So.
Wow. Now I remember the incident you brought up as far as the mocking of the Four Horsemen and X-Pac and everybody in there. Don't you think though, because the fans loved Ric Flair and they loved the Horsemen. Wouldn't that have been money though, because they never really got to get any sort of payback in the ring? Wouldn't that have been some good television, good business?
Well, they tried, but I don't know. No. And I don't. Flair had very little respect. It's like I don't. You play the game for a little bit, but then you say, "Come on, man, this stuff is ridiculous."
Right. So why is it, do you think then that I guess up north WWE took such a different approach? It really seems like Triple H and Shawn Michaels almost made it their mission to embrace Ric Flair.
It would be embarrassing for an average fan to go up there and watch Ric Flair just kiss somebody's ass. When he first went up there, that's all he did. He rolled with Triple H, kissed his ass. But I would have to say this in my professional opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, and Triple H are three of the biggest pussies that ever been in wrestling. They couldn't fight the way out of a paper bag, and that's the honest God truth. They're both basically cut out of the same mode. The backstab, do things behind closed doors. And I've said this before: Triple H wasn't banging the boss's daughter, he wouldn't be in the sport anymore. He's like the Kevin Federline of professional wrestling. So, they're all, and it's like, Shawn Michaels, poses for some gay magazine playgirl,
and
then he comes out like dancing like a Chippendale. Come on, man, you give me a break. And some reason they make a big deal out. So, to each his own,
Yeah, I know. We kind
of go with it, man. Just go with it,
Right. I was going to say, I know we kind of saw the feud before, but I'll tell you what, that's one of the best promos I've heard. I'd love to see you and Triple H in an independent promotion climb back in the ring. I think that could be some big business.
It would be. I'd kill him. It's brutal. But being married to the boss daughter brings a lot of protection. There's guys up right now who want to beat the hell out of them, but they know they lose their job, so they won't. They don't.